All right, how to double your sales in less than a year. We're going to be covering a whole heap of ground. Greg hasn't turned up, but I'm condensing a 3-hour seminar into about 20 minutes. So I will talk, I talk fast anyway. It may run, I've just had a really strong cup of coffee. So don't worry if you can't keep up. I am recording it, and the video will be made available to you. So right, how to double your sales in less than a year. The accountants in the room are saying, I just double your prices. Good to go. I'm going to come on to that. One of the things that is important to get across is that I, in conjunction with my business coach, developed a marketing system. And that's what I do with clients, develop a marketing system. So you're not just doing one thing, but you're also not plastering yourself all over every blinking social media channel that you can find, because neither of them will have the results that you want. You spread yourself too thinly across too many channels, you're not going to do any of them well. If you restrict yourself to just one channel, you're not maximising the touch point opportunities that you get reaching your audience from different angles. And I'm going to come on to that. So I developed a structure for our marketing. So, oh yes, by the way, please ignore that. But the best marketing I've ever given anybody is this. This is the best marketing tip you will ever see. Because nearly no one does it. I'm talking about less than 5% of all businesses, not just small businesses, all businesses do marketing every day. Largely, particularly with small businesses, there's a couple of factors. I don't have time. Yeah. Oh God, there's something else to do. Oh, I'm thinking social media, flipping Facebook. Oh, I've got to send out emails, blog posts. Who the hell's got time to write blog posts? You know, all of this stuff. That is a big deal with people who run small businesses and self-employed. But also there's the factor of what the heck do I do? And how do I do it? And that's what the Auckland Business Builders is all about. It is to show you what you should be doing, how to do it, and how to make it work. But this is the nub of all of it. If your marketing is inconsistent, your results will be inconsistent. I've asked, I don't know how many times, what's the best marketing advice you could ever give? Always this. Always this. Do some marketing every day. And that doesn't mean just chucking things out onto Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Actual marketing, which reaches your customers in a meaningful way. Doesn't mean you have to be broadcasting every day, but doing something every day. Okay, first things first. You need to know your ABCs. Who are you selling to? What are their issues? Where are they? Is there a particular type of person? So, for example, a hairdresser would be wasting her time trying to sell to me. I am manifestly not in the target market. So it's okay to segment your market, and it's absolutely essential. Who are you selling to? What problems are you solving? How are you helping? How are you saving them money, making their lives better, making their businesses better? Taking away pain, bringing gain, all of these things. Because until you can work out what you're bringing to the party, nothing else will work. What are you bringing to your client? Why on earth would they buy from you, ultimately? And that's what you need to work out. Who they are, what their pain is, and how are we selling this. Next, once you've worked out who they are and what their issues are, you need to work out your boast or your brag. What are you saying to them? What are the key things that you can say to your audience which puts you in the frame to be the person they choose for X that you provide? And it's important to do it in this order. And it always needs to be WIIFM. What's in it for me? I don't care that you've got, say 25 years experience in the industry. How are you going to help me? How is your 25 years going to help me? Okay. It just doesn't matter how many letters you have after your name. I looked on LinkedIn and I see so many people with more letters after their name than in it. So what? It doesn't mean diddly unless you can show me how you can help me. I don't care how qualified you are. Tell me what's in it for me with what you do. And then I'll make it to the buy. And then finally, when you've worked out those two things, the channels are that means by which you get that message across. And that's website, social media, email, networking events. I was talking with a client yesterday who's going to be sponsoring charity events. He sponsored one not long ago, and he got some really good value out of it. Helped to develop his list, got some new customers out of it. He said, it's really good value for money. I want to do a lot more of this. So as part of his mentoring, I'm going to help him work out a strategy for event marketing, because I used to run an events business. So, and that's become one of his core channels. What typically happens with a startup business, they do it in the wrong order. Oh, we've got to get a website and some business cards, and we'll get some pop-up banners, and we'll do some social media. Because everybody's on social media, right? They start with their channels first. But they have no idea what they're saying to their customers. Oh yeah, we won't talk to any marketing people, we'll write the website. Bad idea. Because you're writing your language for you. Because you haven't taken into account who you're selling to, what their issues are, and how you're going to solve them. Make sense? Now, this is an important exercise that I would say probably 75% of small businesses completely and totally overlook. Because they're so excited about getting the website up, so excited about going out on Twitter and doing LinkedIn and going to networking events. I'm working with a client now, and we know who he's selling to, we're still trying to work out what the heck he's saying to them. We know what the pain points are, but it's that getting him into the frame of mind of thinking, what's in it for me based on what you do? How can you bring some benefit to me? Nobody buys anything apart from golf clubs and handbags for no reason. So, what's in it for me? Always. In all of your marketing. Right. I think I just explained that. Getting ahead of myself. Alright, and in case you're wondering about channels, here's just a few. There is no shortage of the things that you can do in your marketing to reach a potential audience. Now, here's the thing. Not all of these will be appropriate for your target market. And when I show this to clients, they'll go, whoa, I can't do all of them. No, you're never going to do all of them. Even if you ran Coca-Cola, you wouldn't be doing all of them. Okay? But there are some very, very important things that are essential. CRM, Nigel's already mentioned it. Even if it's just an email marketing system that's segmented into groups, it means that you can put the right messages in front of the right people. Clients, potential clients, past clients. Okay? 3 different lists, 3 different messages, 3 different broadcasts and posts. We've got premium products, I'm going to come on to that, and we've got upsells. If you want to easily improve your sales, I'm going to come on to it, upsells are a big deal. Okay, your list. Okay, Anne. Glad you're here. She's thinking all of it. A small business is sold. Where's the money?
Office.
All in the list. Yeah. All in the client list. You can have an office full of desks, it's worth nothing compared to the value of the list. When Facebook went to IPO, sold on the stock market, it had only made $40,000 profit to that point. And it went onto the market for $7 billion US. Not because of the offices and all the stuff, not because of the $40,000, but because at the time it was the biggest active consumer database on the planet. It was all in the list. The tangible stuff that the company owned was worth nothing. But that list is worth an absolute fortune. And still is. Okay? But very few businesses, small businesses especially, really value the list. I'm going to come on to this. It is genuinely the most important asset. And if you work it out well and you massage it well, it will be worth something now. And should you go on to sell your business, it will most likely be worth something at that point. This is the key. Okay? Your list. And, as it says at the bottom, you should definitely be marketing to existing customers. Right, pricing. When I first embarked upon my mission to grow the business, I had no idea I was going to double my sales. I knew I would, but I didn't know when. We set a target every year, we managed it month on month, just under 9 months. The first thing I did was double my fees. I was selling websites for about $1,000, we went up to $2,000. And you might think, wow, problem solved. The problem is, fewer people bought. If you double your fees, lose half your clients though, what have you lost? You're making the same money but doing half the work. Think about that. Again, if you put your fees up by 10% but lose 10% of your clients, you're doing 10% less work for the same money. Now, I always recommend you should look at pricing regularly, a couple of times a year perhaps. But most small businesses undervalue what they do. Largely because they're thinking about them and not the value to the customer that they're bringing and what it's worth to them. And I had completely and totally missed this. I just wanted to sell websites. But I was selling them so darn cheap, I would have made more money standing at the counter saying, would you like some price for that? Genuinely. I was working silly hours and making no money. Why? I was too damn cheap. So my business coach said doubling prices. I have to admit, when I next sat in front of a potential customer, I was crapping myself. And she said, how much do you want? And I said, £1,000, $2,000? And she said, yeah, it's fine, let's do it. I genuinely nearly fell off my chair. The problem with the pricing was not with her, it was in my head. Okay? So think about your fees, think about your pricing. And when you do your pricing, think about the value you provide, not the price. Because if you can work this out well, and I've done an excellent, I'm going to tell you a story. A number of years ago, I worked with a hypnotherapist in Northamptonshire in the UK. And she was charging I think she was charging £30 per session, which wasn't a lot of money. And I said, well, how are you doing? She said, I'm really, really busy, but I don't seem to have any spare money. I said, okay, fine. What I want you to do, to all new customers, charge them 33. Just a 10% increase. She said, okay. So we met 2 weeks later. How's it going? It's great. Got 10% more money. I said, anybody complain? No. I said, great. You're now going to go to £37. All new customers. And she was a bit nervous. I said, no, trust me, because if it doesn't work, then we can go back down. So a couple of weeks later, we met. How's it going? It's great. I'm making more than 20% more money. Anybody complain? No. Right. We're now going to go to 43. And she started getting a bit nervous. And I said, just look, trust me. All new customers, not the existing ones, keep them where they are, but all new customers, 43. And she said, okay, try it. A few weeks later we met. How's it going? No one's complained. I'm now making 50% more money. Brilliant. Now you're going to go to 47. So that's just slightly more than what everybody else is charging. I don't care about everybody else. You've got a reputation here. Most of your work comes by referral, and that says that people really, really like what you do. So it's not about the money. We got her, in the space of about 6 months, to £67 a session, a 45-minute session, which was 50% more than the average in the market, and she was still stacked out. But now she could afford a holiday. And I said, just keep doing it. Every X number of months, 6 months, however, you just nudge it up until we get resistance. And at that point, she more than doubled her income. She carried on doing about 75% of the work that she was doing, but now she had money in the bank. And it was an important exercise for her to do. And I told that story, I don't know how many times. The challenge with price is often between your ears. If it's presented well to the market, price often doesn't matter. Okay? People still buy Mercedes cars. If price was an issue, Gucci would have been out of business a long, long time ago. Some people pay thousands of pounds for one single golf club. Does it make them a better golfer? No, it's all between the ears. It's not about the money, it's all about value, perceived value. Okay? So, what's cool about this, and this is something we did, when we doubled the prices, we added a money-back guarantee. Now, in most countries, and I would willing to bet it's here, you have a legal obligation to warrant your services or products. If it's not good enough, you have a legal obligation to try and sort it out. Yeah. Yeah, it's a Sale of Goods Act in the United Kingdom.
Well, it's here it's the Consumer Guarantees Act.
Consumer Guarantees. So you are legally obliged. How about you frame that into a marketing tool? If it doesn't work, you can't fix it, you get some money back. That's what we did. And the irony is we had that guarantee there for 5 years, we gave money back once. Bit of just needs. So we were the only web design company in the region, not just in the county, who had a money back guarantee. Can you offer payment plans if it's an expensive thing? Now I know New Zealand are big on payment plans, but even if you're selling websites, I enable my clients to pay for it over 3 or 6 months. Cost me no more, it just evened out the cash flow. It just meant that you're not having to shell out big lump sums. Now you can pay for it over the next 6 months. It worked a charm. It just took away another price objection.
Or if you go back, you could actually have 2 prices.
Indeed.
One price for a payment plan and one price for cash up front.
Yeah, you can do that, but in the UK, you had to have a consumer credit license if you did it. You had to, if you gave people what was effectively self-funded credit, and you charged more for the credit, you had to have a credit broker's license. But factor it in.
Or the payment plan can be $10,000 because it's trade.
We never called it finance, we called it a payment plan.
Yeah.
And it was B2B, so the rules were very slightly different. But if we charged more, we would have had to have had a credit license, which I didn't want to do. Not ever. Right. Upselling and cross-selling. Anybody been to McDonald's? No, it's just we four. Okay. McDonald's, when they offered the supersize, the go large, they instantly added just over 30% of their sales and a net profit gain of 17% overnight. What do you get for your money? A little bit of extra soda and a few extra fries. It costs them nearly nothing. Just for asking. Would you like to go larger? Would you like to supersize that? The other day they copped a bit of flack for it for shoving more crap food down people's throats. But you know that they were laughing all the way to the bank. And now they all do it. Would you like to make a combo? Combo's a bit here. Yeah? You go to any fast food place, would you like to make a combo? Would you like a soda with that? Would you like chips with that? Right? There are very few businesses that cannot offer some kind of upsell. Very few. You go to Mighty Ape, people who bought this also bought that. Right? They're trying to make you part of the crowd. Related products on an e-commerce website. Okay? Again, it's an upsell. Trying to get to improve that point of sale value. There are very few businesses who can't do this. Very few in my experience. Premium product, for example. We had 3 levels of websites. We wanted people to buy the middle one. So we literally stashed up the value of what it was, because it was considerably more money for really about 10% more work. So it's good value for us, and we made sure that the customer saw it as good value for them, and nearly everybody bought it. Over 50% of people bought the middle product. About 10% bought the whole shebang Web Marketing Pro Pack, which was our premium product, which was nearly 3 times the price of the basic website package. But nearly everybody bought the middle one, and we were happy with that, because it provided us with best value. So, can you offer a go large? Can you offer related products or services? All of the big retailers do it. Very few service businesses do it, which I find interesting. Marketing to customers. I've got a story. I did a bit of consulting with a company that sold adhesives, glue. And they'd been in business a long time. I was sitting in a boardroom with a guy who owned the business, who founded it, goodness knows how many decades ago, and his son, who was in the process of taking over the business. And I said, well, sales are declining, and we need to try and stop that. And I said, okay, when was the last time you sent all of your customers an email? Oh, no, we don't do that. Why not? Oh, we don't want to pester them. They know where we are. And at that point, I came this close to saying, do you have any idea how bloody stupid you sound right now? It's your responsibility to remind your customers they're there. Because if they get a more tempting offer, I hate to say it, far too many people are mercenary, they're gone. That's the nature of the society we live in. But you can nurture customer loyalty by just staying in their space. Right? Those of you who've been on my email list for a little while, you get an email every Tuesday morning. Well, this week it was Monday. Okay. Why? Because I want to be in your space, not just telling you about my stuff, but also providing useful, helpful information and hints and tips. Why? Highlights my expertise, but it's my responsibility to stay in touch with customers. It's your responsibility to keep in touch with yours. I mean, a base chiropractor not long ago just started sending out emails with helpful hints and tips on how to look after your spine and your posture. It's really good. Having said that, the accountant I signed up with in March last year, she sent me 2 emails. One of them to say your tax return is due, and the other one to tell me they were going to be on holiday in January. That's it. Do I feel like a valued customer? Is it any small wonder that I'm about to change accountant? Go figure. So, make sure all of your clients know about all of your services as well. The last thing you ever want to hear from your client is, I didn't know you did that. Trust me, that is a biggie. Because if they know you sell it, the chances are good because you've got that relationship with them, they may buy it. But if they don't know about it, they'll never buy it. I worked for an accountancy firm as an IT manager for an accountancy firm. I did IT consulting for them as well. And we had a Christmas party, and there was a big magnum of champagne up for grabs for who could, in the space of 5 minutes, without leaving the room or checking a phone, name all the services, the most number of services the company offered. Even the partners of the practice couldn't name all of the services that they offered. Guess who won? The PA to the managing partner. She was the best informed person in the building. Shamefully, I'd be willing to bet most of their clients hadn't a clue of about over half of the services that they could do. Shocking. And it was no small wonder that when they sold out, the company eventually went down that. So aim for wallet share. Apple don't need market share, they go for wallet share. Typically when you buy an Apple product, you are effectively doing this with your wallet to Apple, because they'll charge you for everything. And they're so good at their marketing. You know, the next iPhone is coming out, people queue outside the shop for days. That's fanaticism, that's not just fans. But they've got it so well wrapped up. Anything you do on an Apple, they want to charge you some money. They go for wallet share. They don't go for market share. It's very clever. That's why Apple is the biggest company, the most valuable company in the world. Okay, I've got this one. YouTube, my favorite social media. Oh, sorry, I got excited there. YouTube is the world's second biggest search engine and the biggest social media. Okay? How many of you here use YouTube marketing?
Working on it.
You are. I know you are. Okay. How long would it take any of you just to whip out your phone, do a quick recording about something you've just experienced that's helpful to your potential audience, and then bung it onto YouTube? It takes no effort whatsoever.
Takes a bit of courage.
Unless you're a technophobe.
Unless you're a technophobe or a little bit afraid. Okay. Yeah. Now, the mechanics of it don't actually take a lot. I'm not suggesting that any of you do what I do and stand up in front of a camera and talk. Some folks just won't do that. But I had a client, Mark, when he started his business as a trainer, he didn't want to stand in front of a camera. But he'd got a really, really good radio voice. And I said, well, instead of doing that, why don't you just record you talking over a PowerPoint presentation? It's a great idea. He started bunging up YouTube videos. We started embedding them into his website. His website went like that in the search engines. His YouTube channel started getting thousands of views. Funnily enough, he started picking up customers. How much did YouTube cost him? Nothing. It's owned by Google, loved by Google, and if you have YouTube videos in your website will be liked by Google. Right?
Absolutely.
So, and this is one of the reasons why my little website company in Leicestershire was performed so well in the search engines compared to our much bigger competition. We just had YouTube videos all over the place. By the time I sold the company 18 months ago, we had nearly 200 YouTube videos. Well over half of them were embedded into the website. We outperformed most of our competition in the search engines for something like 4 years running. Not because we were spending a penny on SEO or penny on on all of these online website marketing services. We just did video. Kept it nice and simple. Used my phone. Got some free video editing software called Shotcut, and just literally chucked it up there. Once a week, I created a YouTube video, and it was typically anywhere between 3 and 7 minutes long. Okay.
Is it an app, or is it on the online?
It's a PC. It's a free software. It's an open source free software.
So it's okay. So it's on laptop.
Yeah. So if you've got a Windows machine. So let me just go over here. So this is the YouTube channel for Open Business Builders, and there's absolutely loads in here. Dozens of videos, all in the process of helping small businesses get to grips with marketing. And they're usually quite short. One there, there's 2:59, there's 1:17. There are some in there which are 12, 13 minutes long. And this one here is actually an audio recording of an interview I did. You can mix this up. But what's cool about it, and we'll come on to it in a bit, is if you record videos, you can get those videos transcribed and you can create blog posts and also social media content. But you've only created content once. There are transcription services like Otter. I use one called Happy Scribe, where you just send them the URL, they'll transcribe the video, you've got text that you didn't have to sit and type. And I'll come on to that. But I see YouTube as grossly underappreciated by almost all small businesses. Considering what it costs to do, it costs you nothing to have, but if doing well in the search engines, getting messages across, in my view, and I really don't want to change this because I know certain people get it. If you get to grips with this, almost all other social media could become redundant in your marketing world. Now that sounds crazy, but this was our #1 channel. We did next to nothing on Facebook. We did nearly nothing on LinkedIn. We just did YouTube, we did website stuff, and we did email marketing. Yeah, we put stuff out onto social media every day. We shared the content. But that was secondary to our using YouTube with the web design company. And the same thing is applying to me now. I love this. And I cannot rate it highly enough. Okay, email marketing. There are no excuses. No excuses. It costs next to nothing to do. Once it's all set up, it takes you nearly no effort whatsoever to maintain. And the cool thing is, you are there in their space. Something like 80% of the working world have an email address that they actively use. And the cool thing is that you can speak directly to people. A lot of people still open their email. If you send out useful, helpful, informative stuff instead of the usual buy my crap emails that I get from Mighty Open and Grab One, people will look. I send out an email once a week and I look at the stats and a surprisingly high number of people actually bother to read it. Some of them click on and read more. Some of you will have clicked on a link and come to the workshop. Okay? But there are really no excuses. The return on investment for what you put into email marketing is phenomenal. It's probably by far the best ROI of almost any channel. Active campaign, I think, cost me something like 35 New Zealand dollars a month for a comprehensive email marketing system with automations. Sorry, some of those automations went a little bit beat on last week. Some emails going out that shouldn't have. But you all will have received a thank you email when you booked. That was automated, asking you to share it out, giving you the details. You will have received an email yesterday reminding you. You should have received an email this morning, 6 o'clock-ish, reminding you again. Okay, that's all automated. You only need to set it up once. When you book on the website, pay for your ticket, you go into that sequence and it automatically does the work. It took me a while to set it all up. When I ran the events business, we sold exhibition space via the website. Now the cool thing is that when they booked, they went into an email automation sequence to try and get the exhibitors into the training that we had, the online training that we had, to help them get better results out of exhibition marketing. We used a system called Zapier to automatically then tweet the company out. We also used the email automated system to send a note to my VA, who then contacted the company to get the details for the book, the event guide. Okay? And that's all automated. It starts here. This is brilliant once you get your head around it. And the cool thing is, the effort is setting it up. And then it's just keeping it maintained. But it literally probably takes me about 15 minutes a week, 25 minutes tops, to send an email out every week. Your website. Now, most people, in my experience, who are in small businesses, undervalue their website. But here's the thing. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok are all owned by other people. And they can shut you out at a heartbeat. Even Google. Okay, when we were setting up Angela's Google business profile, they decided to close it down. For whatever reason, we did not meet their terms of use. I couldn't work out what that was, so I appealed and we got it back up again. But it's everything that you put on there is there by their discretion. Facebook have what's known as fact checkers, many of whom don't actually read English as a first language. But they can shut you down like that. There was a YouTuber, I can't remember his name now. Something like PewDiePie. What's his name?
Sounds familiar. I think it was
it PewDiePie?
Yes.
It might have been PewDiePie. He had 2.5 million YouTube followers, made about $7 million a year in YouTube ads from his channel. He did something wrong and they shut him down. It's never come back.
I didn't remember him to report him, but then I was like, oh, that guy.
Literally, my daughter used to watch him on YouTube. But he did something wrong that violated their terms and conditions, and sometimes they can be a bit nebulous, and they literally closed his channel down. Yeah, fine, he may have already had millions of dollars in the bank, but they shut him down like that. His business was just gone overnight. That's the power of social media. Facebook are notorious for closing down pages that they deem to be unfit or unworthy. Closing accounts that they think have violated terms and conditions, or one of the fact checkers said you've done something wrong. Okay? So don't rely on social media. Your website is the most important channel you own. All of your social media efforts, much of your online marketing efforts, should be pointing back to here. As much business needs to be done through your website as possible. The great thing is you can mix up content types, as I talked earlier on the website. You need to go WIFM, don't we all over it. We can do this, we can do that. We've been in business 120 years, and the managing partner can remember the day we opened the door. You know, we don't do that. Talk to your customers. Communicate. What are you getting out of this relationship? Here's why we are good for you. WIFM. Call to action, tell them what to do next. The number of times I go to a website and they say, call us, and I can't find their phone number. So common. If you want to call you, put it right there. You want to email you, put it there. You want to fill in the form, put it on the bloody website. I had this Barney with a website design company that didn't want to they wanted to charge extra for the 5-minute job of embedding a form on a page. Nuts. From a marketing perspective, it's nuts. And also make sure it's yours. A number of times as a web designer, I had somebody phone me up and said, I can't get to my domain. My old web designer registered it for me, and now he's not giving it to me.
Yeah.
It's very, very common.
Especially the larger companies.
Yeah, a lot of the agencies are like that.
It's only T's and C's.
So, but then they own your website. I had to threaten, I encouraged a client to get onto the FSB, the Federation of Small Businesses, who've got a legal helpline. And we had to take a legal route to be able to get the website that she'd paid for, and there was no transfer of ownership clause in the T's and C's. And we did the analogy whereby if you buy a car, even if you have it customised, it's your bloody car. It doesn't belong to the dealership. And the website should be the same. And we literally, it didn't cost you anything because you got this legal advice as part of our membership of the business organisation. But it took weeks and weeks and weeks to tackle it. So make sure it's yours. At least the domain. And sort out the on-site SEO so Google knows what your website's all about. Right, blogging made simple. Will, why is a blog important?
For so many reasons. SEO is probably the biggest.
Yep.
And also credibility.
So SEO is search engine optimization. The more content you put in your website through blogs, articles, videos, infographics, imagery, etc., the more Google can get to grips with what your website is about. And the more you have in, the more points you score in the search engines. And if you are more consistent than your competitors, you will climb the search engines compared to them. It's a zero-sum game if anybody else comes down. But here's the cool thing. As I said earlier, so few small businesses are consistent with this stuff. So few. In fact, I would go to say that fewer than 5% of small businesses blog on a regular basis. Now, those emails you've been sending out, they should be on your website's podcasts because they're useful. Even if you aren't pointing people to take the exercise, it should be up there. Okay? It's just automatically copy and paste, easily done content. You only create the content once, you can multi-purpose it. Right? But here's the thing, blogging takes time. It takes effort, and for some people, it's really hard work. I have not written a blog post in years, but I publish typically 2 a month. Because I record a video, and I have the video transcribed, and I've instantly got text. All I need to do is edit it. Because one thing I've been told I'm good at is talking. So, you don't have to write it yourself, unless you really, really want to. But I used to dread writing a blog post. 1,000 words would take me 3 hours. I thought, I cannot afford 3 hours. But I can say 1,000 words in about 8 minutes. And it's worth $1 a minute to pay for that transcription. And then all I've got to do is edit it. Okay? So you can write it yourself, get voice recognition software. A lot of phones have voice recognition software now, which is dead cool. So you talk to it and it literally types up what you're saying. If you've got a funky accent, that can produce some interesting results. Record it and have it transcribed, which is what I do. I have done for years. Make a video and have it transcribed, which is what I do now. And get someone else to write it for you. You can get ghost blogging services for not a lot of money if you know where to look. Okay, and here's some links down here. Dragon, naturally speaking, used to be the benchmark in voice recognition software phones are overtaking, I could imagine eventually that they will drop the development of the Dragon voice recognition, because most phones are doing now. Zoom Transcription was the company that transcribed my book. 80% of this was transcribed. God knows how many hours it saved me. So Janet at Zoom Transcription is brilliant. And Fiverr.com, you can find people who can write blog posts, transcribe stuff, do all kinds of cool stuff. For one of my clients who ran a first aid company, he wanted blog posts, but he didn't know where to start. And I said, look, tell you what, leave it to me, I'll get it sorted. I found someone on Fiverr who would write blog posts for, she was in Nigeria, really top-notch English. And I sent her over a news article, and I said, can you write your own version of this? A couple of days later, we got a fantastic, freshly written, original piece based on that original article. It went up as a blog post. You can pinch other people's ideas. You just cannot copy and paste it. So if somebody else has got a good article, you think, well, if I rewrite that in my own words, it's my work, it's an original work, even though the idea came from someone else. You copy and paste, it's intellectual property theft. But you can pinch somebody else's ideas. Right? There was no copyright on ideas. There was copyright on the written word and imagery and video. Okay? So, and then when you've written blog posts, share it out across all your social media channels. If you've got a WordPress website, you can partially automate this, and you can partially automate the resharing of this stuff. So again, it begins to automate some of your marketing. Coolest thing is, you only need to write it once. One blog post can become so many different social media posts. One video can go across all channels. You can create your blog post with a transcription. That can then be shared out. You can take out snippets and create bite-sized chunks on social media. It just, one content item like this can be repurposed in so many ways, but you're only really doing the work once. And that's why I love video. Get it transcribed. When I publish a video, I share it out on social media as a YouTube video. A little while later, I get it transcribed, create a blog post. That blog post gets shared out on social media. And then I create snippets, little text snippets of those blog posts, and that gets shared out on social media. Meanwhile, the automated social sharing function on my website shares out a blog post on social media, Facebook and Twitter, every day, with no effort whatsoever. I've created only one piece of content, but I've repurposed it, saved myself a ton of time by using the tools available. Okay, what is SEO? Right, SEO is all about getting your website up in the search rankings. I recommend that you focus on this. It starts with your website, good content, blog, social media, other websites, email marketing, but everything around what you do online should be pointing back to your website and the amazing articles and blog posts that you've written, and the videos you've created, and the podcasts that you've now done. But that's SEO in a nutshell. Simple, right? Okay, social media. How many people think they spend way too much time on social media? Okay, stop it. I know, right? A lot of people get this wrong. I met with a guy at a business over donuts networking event who was trying to convince me to get into TikTok. Now, TikTok is a wonderful business-to-consumer channel. And there are methodologies that you can use to make it into a business-to-business channel, but it takes a whole lot of work. And I don't want to go there, because I'm doing quite well out of the channels that I know will more readily and more directly reach my audience. And again, this comes back to understanding your audience. Is your audience there? Now, let me just clarify something on Facebook. Yes, your audience is there, but nobody goes to Facebook to buy a website, or to get marketing services, or to look for finance. Okay? Yes, they're there, but for the most part, unless you're spending money on ads, your Facebook page is just going to go nowhere. Okay? And the cool thing is Facebook is still relatively cheap for reaching a potentially new type of market. But it's that business to business, Facebook is going to be hard work until you spend money. And what's interesting, one of my clients, gosh, going back 8 years or something, what was her name? Alicia, it might have been Alicia. She ran a salon, did all of her marketing on Facebook. And that was when Facebook actually allowed you to do some marketing without paying any money. And every time she got a new service or a gap in the calendar, she hung it on the Facebook page, 30 seconds later it booked. She didn't have to do anything other than just bung stuff onto Facebook. Overnight, Facebook changed it, so her Facebook page went down from 75% reach to her target, the people who liked her page, to about 5%. They completely and totally undermined the marketing approach that she'd been doing up to that point. And that's what they're good at. They don't give a shit about you. They're only interested in profits. So if they can crowbar you into spending some money, that's what they do. They are. Facebook are not your friend. None of them are. Okay, so use the channels that are appropriate to your audience. Commit to posting and engaging. You need to be posting a couple of times a week at least, and you need to be engaging as well. Mix up content types, text, image, video. There was a great photograph of our keynote speaker over there on LinkedIn the other day. It was really good. But bear in mind, it's rented space. The only real estate you really own should be your website. Rented space. Organic reach is poor, so consider placing ads. And if you want to use management software, I use OneUp, which is a pretty good app. It's dead easy to use, and it enables me to post to social media from one location. So I've got 5 social channels, and I don't go into all of them to do it individually. I post it all and schedule it all from one place. Saves me a ton of linking time. So Buffer's pretty good. I have used Buffer. I used to use Hootsuite until they not just quadrupled, but put their prices up by 600%. So I told them to take a long run for a short period. And I told the world about it as well. The irony is, if they just bumped it up by 50% or bumped it up by 10-15% every year, I'd have been happy with that. I'd used it for years. I told hundreds and hundreds of people how wonderful it was, and it is one of the best. But then they went up from $15 to $75 overnight. It's like, seriously, guys, Buffer does the same thing for less than half the money. You might think you're great, and they lost so much business. But again, if they put their prices up by 600% and have only got 1/6 of their customers left, they're doing 1/6 of the work for the same money. Make sense? Don't need fees, do half your clients. So, hey ho. But yes, choose the channels wisely, but then you need to commit to being there. Getting this one yet? Networking. One of the biggest things I want to say to people about networking is if you say you'll be there, be there. If you say you'll follow up, follow up. There's nothing better for your reputation than being the person who says and does the same thing. What you say you will do, you do. Because there are so many people out there who say, yeah, I'll be at your event. Still waiting. Yeah, I'll give you a call. Still waiting. I'll drop you a line. Still waiting. It's so common. Once you get a reputation for being known as the person who does what they say they're going to do. When they say they'll be there, they'll be there. If they say they'll drop you a line, they'll drop you a line. If they say they'll connect with you on LinkedIn or wherever, they'll connect with you. Be that person. Work on your 60-second speech. It's not as easy as it. I'm working with 2 clients on 60-second speeches. 3 now. Because it comes back to the old marketing. Who are you serving? What are you saying to them? How are you reaching them? Your 60-second speech should be all about what's in it for me out of doing business with you. How are you helping me or somebody I know? Okay? And volunteer to be a speaker. It's good practice. One of the most terrifying things. But it is good practice. Okay, now. Audience participation time. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, I want you to get a blank bit of paper. And I want you to draw 4 quadrants, kind of like this. Because what I did is I took all of this stuff, rearranged all of our marketing, what we were saying, who we were trying to reach, etc. We decided in the web design company that we did not want to reach businesses with above 5 people in. And all that time we only had 2 clients in the 9 years who had more than 5 people because we understood what micro businesses need from a website. Once you get to having a bigger team, the dynamic change. You're not dealing with the guy who owns the business, you're usually dealing with somebody who's delegated who can't make decisions. I didn't want that. So we deliberately kept it to self-employed people and tiny businesses. And that's what I do now because I get it. If I'm dealing with a big business with a marketing department, the dynamic is completely different. It's not to say that I can't help, I know I can, but the dynamic that has to be dealt with differently. So what we did is I systemized my approach. Okay, so my marketing week went like this for years. Monday morning, I created a video, pretty much without fail. Tuesday morning, I sent out an email. And funnily enough, I still do those things. Although for the last few weeks, creating a video has been a bit of a challenge. Had COVID, lost all enthusiasm for doing anything several weeks. But so Tuesday morning, as most of you know, we get an email. Okay? Wednesday is Google Business Profile. Every week on a Wednesday, I put something onto Google Business Profile. Okay? And I also do it on behalf of a handful of clients, including Graham. So Graham's Google Business Profile gets something new on it every week. Thursday morning, I schedule my social media for the coming week. It takes me probably around about 35, 40 minutes. And it goes across all the channels that I'm involved in. Okay? And then on Friday morning, most Friday mornings, is creating a blog post. But as I said earlier, my blog post is always a transcription of the content I've already created. So I'm not having to do the work again. I've got that video or a podcast, and I'm just transcribing it, creating the text, embedding the video or the podcast or the podcast into the blog post. So it's a what they used to call multimedia. Anybody remember that phrase? Way back when, 9 years ago. So it creates that multi-media, for want of a better word, content. And Google absolutely loves it. So, and that's my marketing week. I also go to networking events, etc., which is usually quite fun, and I run events like this. Okay, makes sense. So what I'd like you to have a think about is how you can plan it. We always planned our campaigns quarterly, and I recommend you plan your campaigns quarterly. My 2020 marketing plan was dead in the water by the end of March because we went into lockdown, and the UK stayed into lockdown for over a year. So you guys all whinging about lockdowns and COVID, you have no idea. Literally, the UK stayed in lockdown for 14, 15 months. They destroyed the economy, but they made some very rich people even richer. Anyway, I'm getting cynical now. Let's not get political. But, so quarterly, what can you do over the coming quarter? In the website design business, we have all kinds of fun. The best one we did was celebration days. We looked at, you put into a calendar, into Google, celebration days. You get all kinds of funky days, like Bulldogs Are Beautiful Day. That was one of my favourites. International Pie Day. I enjoyed that one. There was Grammar Day. There we had Make a Friend Day. We made a video on how to make a friend. Very, very handy for some people. We did so much. We sent out an email every week on some celebration day. Did you know today was? So for Grammar Day, we had a competition. So it was a free marketing consultation worth hundreds of pounds for for the person who could spot the biggest number of grammatical errors in the email. Loads of people took part. However, we did have some dispute over the Oxford comma. Let me tell you, the Oxford comma is the curse. But anyway, so that was fun. We did Bulldogs Are Beautiful Day. We made up a Trade Your Website In Day. Who's to know it's not real? Right, you can have some fun with this. But there is an International Bulldogs Are Beautiful Day. We did a survey, International Pie Day. What's your favourite pie? Fruit pie, meat pie, mathematical constant pie, or pie chart? Hundreds of people took part. Some folks just genuinely don't have enough to do. But it was fun, and it made us fun, and it stood out in the marketplace. There's not just being a bunch of nerds who do websites. Okay? And that's what was good about it. We genuinely made it fun. So we built that campaign out for the first quarter, I don't know what it was, something like 2015, it was a while back. And then we planned out the monthly activities, so it was 2 emails going out each month. There was a lot of social media that went with it. Then we brought it down to weekly, what were we going to do each week, and then on a daily basis. So what I'd like you to do in your quadrants is have a think about how you can, based on what you've learned and the stuff that you're doing now, what could you do in your marketing to create some kind of consistent, getting something done pretty much every day marketing. And just chucking stuff onto social media doesn't count. Let me go back to there. Upsells. Even if you spent 15, 20 minutes one day developing an upsell, that's still marketing. Because the next day, or a couple of days later, you spend another 15, 20 minutes or half an hour implementing the upsell. That's still marketing. As I said earlier, just because it's not front-facing doesn't mean it's marketing. If you're crafting a series of emails to clients to try and nurture them into buying other products or services. That's still marketing, even if you don't actually send something out. It's not just the front-facing stuff, it's the planning and implementation in the back end, which still counts as marketing, as long as it's implemented, and it's all in the doing. If you notice that big red slide doesn't say plan some marketing every day. Do. Or it doesn't say think about marketing every day. It doesn't say look at my marketing every day. I don't know, you've seen that a few times. Okay. Who's stuck? You don't have to write half an essay, just a few short bullet points. What can you do every week? In my view, every other week you should be sending out an email. One of my clients, a tax consultant, a specialist in the UK equivalent of GST, world's sexiest subject, she was sending out monthly emails to her list, and it wasn't doing much. And I said, no, you need to do it more frequently. I said, but I don't want to pester people. And I said, I promise you, inside of 2 weeks they've forgotten who you are, you ain't pestered them. She started sending them out every 3 weeks, she started getting more inquiries. She made that every fortnight. Funnily enough, the number of clicks through to articles and stuff and the number of inquiries that she got shot up. Why? Because she was in their space on a more regular basis. It's your responsibility to be in their space. It's not their responsibility to remember who you are. She didn't even market to her existing customers. Man, we changed that quickly. Right, anyone got any questions? I know I've talked a lot, I've talked really quick to jump.
In terms of daily interaction, some things are too much, emailing every day. Some things are more acceptable. You know more, have any ideas of that? Facebook is a good daily channel because they have to go there to see it, choose to open it.
I mean, social media, you really should be putting stuff onto social media every day. And people who follow you, some will have enabled notifications and will get notified. But for the most part, if you've got 1,000 people, I've got 1,600-ish people following the Auckland Business Builders of Facebook. Whenever I publish something, tops 30 people to see it. So yes, it's there, but I don't have to. It's no extra work for me to put it because I use the app to just share it all out across the channels. And LinkedIn is the same. So it's that. But even if you just go into one of the channels and interact every day, take you 5 minutes. Okay? LinkedIn, particularly for B2B. Doug and I do a lot of LinkedIn and Carmel. So even if you're just going in every day, just to interact in some way, shape, or form, then that counts.
I'm also going to say, we'll put it out there, it's a big is if you're putting out content on the LinkedIn, Facebook, or whatever, and people comment, don't be an ass and just not do anything. Always respond and interact some way. That's also a form of marketing.
Yep.
Because if you're just pumping out content, and a lot of the big companies do it on LinkedIn, they do it pretty poorly in regards to even some of the more social influencers nowadays, if you want to call them that, will pump things out. People will comment, but you find the interaction is between other people actually doing it instead of actually them. And to me, that's where I start unlinking or unfollowing.
But here's the interesting thing about LinkedIn. If you post something and then somebody in your network comments on it, in their connections feeds, they'll often see a X commented on post or X shared this post. So you're not just sharing to those in your audience. If they actually comment or engage in some way, they're then sharing it, not quite inadvertently, they're often sharing it because of the way the system works with the people they're connected to as well. So it's not just reaching your immediate connections, it's reaching that second level too. So, and that's why engaging is important. And that's why I put it on the slide, you need to engage. But like, you're absolutely right. If somebody comments, respond.
Yeah.
You know, and I've had some really bizarre discussions, often started by Brent Rawling on LinkedIn, about all kinds of funky stuff. But it's just engage. You build your network, you can have a bit of fun. Whatever you do, don't put your lunch on flipping LinkedIn. Save that for Facebook and Instagram.
I mean, for me, it's like 4 or 5 people here is all through, that I'll be here is through LinkedIn.
Yeah. So, and have some fun. Be the person who makes it light-hearted and fun. Yes, you're there to do business, but at the end of the day, you know, I don't want to be a snuffed shirt. I want to be somebody who enjoys what I'm doing, has fun what I'm doing, and brings people along with me. And I try and make that happen. Not always easy, but again, in social media, just be fun. What if I'm going to tell you this story? Gosh, it must have been easily a decade ago. In fact, it was over a decade ago. There was an accountancy practice who had a Christmas party, not unknown. And two of the partners of this accountancy practice did a dance-off, and somebody recorded it. Found it onto YouTube, shared it with a few friends. One of these friends of friends was a journalist. She picked it up and it made the national press. Accountants actually looking like they're having a good time. And you know what they did? They insisted that video was taken down because it did the reputation of the company no favours. This thing went viral. Thousands and thousands of people saw it. No, can't have that. Can't make it look like accountants are actually having a good time. And it was just staggering. And I thought that was marketing gold. They should have milked that something chronic. But nope. It's like the old joke, isn't it? Why did the accountant cross the road? Looked in the books and it's what they did last year. So, looking at it. I love it. So, yeah, it was just, it was a bizarre one. I just thought.
Sorry, I've been in public practice for a long time.
I don't even know to pick. I tend to pick on accountants and solicitors as being the ones who are the last to catch on to how things actually work, particularly in technology and online marketing. But some are really, really, really good. Sadly, the overwhelming majority just aren't. But that's not necessarily new, or the finance industry.
Yeah, a lot of them are the old firms that have been around for a hell of a long time. It's the newer ones with younger partners that take on board.
Yeah. Like I said, the company opened in 1903, and the managing partner can remember the name. So how are we doing? Anyone got any ideas? Stuck? Because I want you to take this away and start and think about creating a daily plan. What can I do differently? That A, isn't going to take me a ton of time ongoing. It may take you a while to set it up, particularly something like email marketing. But it's all about being consistent. Just being consistent. The thing that we did, the thing that enabled us to double our sales was the combination of everything I've just shown you. Yes, we increased our prices. We doubled the prices of the website. But of course, our sales numbers plummeted as a result. That was fine, because we were making about the same money but doing half the flipping work. That's always a plus. And we just kept incrementally increasing the prices. So I got to a price point that I thought was good value for the customer and earned me the kind of money I wanted out of each project. Okay? Now, I'm not suggesting you do that, but it was a big deal for us. We got into daily marketing, we went into YouTube, we went into email, we went to networking, everybody went into the list. And we nurtured people. When somebody filled in a form on our website, they didn't just get a thank you, we've received your message. They instantly got a message back saying, we've got your inquiry. By the way, have you checked it out on Facebook? We've got dozens of helpful YouTube videos over here. Check them out. It's engagement. It was a touch point. And we just got so good at doing this. And the great thing is almost all of it costs you next to nothing to do. It just takes thinking about it and making it happen. So I know that Greg knows who Dave Brailsford is, but he was the coach of the British Team GB Olympic cycling team. It made Team GB the most successful Olympic cycling team in history. This was after he made Team Sky the most successful Tour de France cycling team in history. But his big deal was not changing big stuff. It was making lots of little gains when compounded made a big difference. Made the handlebars a few % more aerodynamic. Made the helmet that they rode a few % more aerodynamic. Improved the VO2 max of the athletes by a few % to make sure they get more power output. Make the tyres, the frame, everything was better. But it wasn't major change, it was incremental, tiny little changes that when compounded made a massive difference. The aggregation of marginal gains. Can you change just one small thing this week and then add something else next week and then the following week and then the following week? I promise you, if you try and tackle it all in one go, it will be overwhelming. Just go back and think, well, can I get to grips with email marketing? 2 lists. Those who are just on the list who are connected with the networking events and actual customers. like I said, my accountant actually only sent me 2 emails in the last week, neither of which was particularly encouraging. Yes, one of them was your tax return is due, which effectively says we want your money. And the other one was we're going to be on holiday, which effectively tells me, well, if I want them, they're not there. Hardly encouraging, hardly good customer service job.
How do you, I have my hands on people and in front of people, not much behind the computer, behind on this, but what is an effective CRM? Is there a program you'd recommend? Is it Excel? Is it MonkeyChimp, Mailchimp, or whatever it is?
I use ActiveCampaign, which is not expensive. It's brilliant. It enables you to visually see a series of emails if you've automated things. Once you've set up an email template, you can create lists of the types of customers that you want. You can also tag them. So, for example, when you registered for this event, my email marketing ActiveCampaign took you into the list of people who've been to this event. It also tagged you as having attended a past event. Okay? So I can keep an eye on all those people who come to my events, because at some point I'm going to do a marketing expo. I'm going to do a marketing masterclass. That's like a half-day thing, which I did. In April last year, poor old Greg was one of the victims. But ActiveCampaign I just love. Because once you get your head around how it works, it can just do so much. So I've got one client who uses it. He sends out a weekly email. He's an accountant, and we won't hold that against him. And his weekly email goes out, and depending on the topic, if somebody clicks on the link, say for example it's on cash flow, he's set it up so the following day that particular clicker gets an email saying, I noticed you clicked on one of the links, took a look at one of our articles on cash flow. Is this something you're concerned about? If it is, let's chat. That's automated.
That's scary.
Well, it is. Well, he writes, it's written, so our clever email software has told me. So, of course, if you just got it out of the blue, it would look big brotherish. But it's just in our clever email software. He's also got it set up so ActiveCampaign will look into your website if you've got a WordPress website, and it does analytics. So if somebody on your email list goes to your website, you can, and a particular page, for example, you can actually get ActiveCampaign to trigger off an email. And it is really, really cool. There's so much this stuff can do. Now, a lot of tiny businesses don't actually need a full-blown CRM system because it becomes overwhelming. But if you've got a good, well-segmented email marketing system like ActiveCampaign or MailChimp or Zoho campaigns or Constant Contact, right, you literally can get away without it. Because for the most part, you're just going to use it for emails and then to trigger automating emails. But I love marketing automation, simply because it just saves me so much time. So, like I said, when you registered for this event, you went into an email sequence that just nudged you to let you know about the event, reminders, can you share it out with somebody, here's the details, etc. So, and I think it's absolutely brilliant. Look at the stats, but ActiveCampaign I love. It's one of the easiest to get to grips with. It just does so much. In many respects, I'm not even scratching the surface with this. And I'm using it well. Okay, any other questions? Anyone else? All right, well, thank you very much for coming on. I hope you've got more bloody ideas than you could possibly put into effect, which was the idea. As Greg says, the hose pipe in the face. Not the hose pipe, the fire hose in the face, that's right. But if you've got questions, please talk to me. The Auckland Business Bill is here to help. As a member at $147 a month with no tie-ins, you get a session every other week to guide you, coach you, train you in making this stuff work. And so, for example, I help people with SEO, email marketing. Like I said yesterday, I was speaking with a client who's doing events, and we'll be helping him to get better at event marketing. So doing Facebook ads, someone else is doing Google ads, Google Business Profile, and LinkedIn. So the idea is to get you into creating your own marketing system that you can manage in as little as 20 minutes a day, or 90 minutes a week, once it's all set up. And that's what marketing should be. But that's it. Thank you very much indeed for coming on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Sweet, yeah.
How long was that?
Pretty bang on.
Awesome.